Hello and welcome to my review of the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Slaves to Darkness Ever Chosen Varanguard Knights of Ruin. One of these box sets will set you back a colossal £60. It's a huge amount of money. Let's not beat around the bush here. You're kind of looking at about £20 per steed. These are no ordinary Chaos Knights though. These are Archaon's personal kind of guard. They're his Knights of Ruin. They would have been with him when he was on his steed before he made good friends with Dorgar. But anyway, that's a story for another time. The kit consists of 111 components with oval bases that are 75mm by 42mm. There are going to be quite a few size comparisons in this kit for obvious reasons. We're going to have a look at each of these models individually. We'll take a look at the spare parts. We'll go through some size comparisons, and then I'll discuss all of the rules for them. So you pick them up in this kind of chunky box, really. It's thicker than I kind of expected, and it really highlights the different miniatures that you can make. So you've got these on the front with different axe and different weapon and heads and helmet configurations and different horse configurations too. I'm using the word horse in a very loose sense here. And then on the back, you've got yet more options. So if you were to buy, I don't know, 6 of them, or go crazy and have 12, like a certain person I know of, then you do have options for them to all look very similar. All the horses are going to look exactly the same though, if you bought a second set. However, the changes are with the weapons and the helmets themselves, which is great news if you wanted to capture a specific theme or faction of Chaos. So if you wanted to have 3 of the knights more Nurgle focused, you can paint them up in the Nurgle offering, or more of a Khornate look. I'm afraid mine are going to be a little bit boring, I guess. They're going to have touches of Khorne and touches of Nurgle. I want these 3 to kind of reflect Archaon in a way. I have no kind of motivations of picking up any more than these 3, so I just wanted them to accompany Archaon. Anyway, you've got a number of weapons here, such as different demon forged blades, fell spears, the warp steel shields. You've got hammers, axes, double-edged swords, you name it, it's all here. Let's have a look at the models themselves. So this one here, I've gone for kind of like a Tzeentch look. If we look at this a bit more closely, it's got this fell spear. The steed is kind of Slaanesh. I mean, it's got some horns and it's got like a spiked type of Zangor type tail, and the head is very reminiscent of that. Of course, the helmet looks more akin to, I'll probably say Khorne, with these 2 prongs on there, I guess. But the spear does fall in line more with Tzeentch as well. And the shield, yeah, that could be anything really. But yeah, as you can see, these are huge knights. I'm going to do a size comparison shortly, but these are massive. Bigger than I expected them to be. There's a lot of presence. Each one of them in their own right looks like a character. There's nothing stopping you from proxying one of these as a Chaos Lord on a steed in your Slaves to Darkness army, which I would do from time to time, because the current Chaos Lord on a steed is quite an old model now. Anyway, that's that one. Then we've got this one, which, now this one here I'd probably say is more of a Khorne looking one. It's got this big brass spiky piece on the front, very fierce, ferocious looking teeth on this one, and a tongue. And then you've got the Varanguard himself with these spiky horns holding this blade, a bit like what a Bloodletter or Champion of Khorne would be wielding. Just suits it tremendously well. And this time you've got proper spikes rather than the rigid ones. The tail as well has got some spikes. So yeah, this is what I've gone for this Varanguard, very kind of Khorne looking one. And then finally, of course, gone for a Nurgle looking Varanguard. We've got the shield, which looks like it's going to be corroded. Even the armour on the steed is corroded, and there's a skull that's very pestilent. I've very much been inspired with these Varanguard, drawing correlations to the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And this Nurgle one has, you know, corrupted armour. The armour's pitted. It's got this kind of bone type tail. The helmet, I really wanted to have this helmet with this big horn coming out the front and a mini one at the back. And of course, where wouldn't we be with Nurgle without some kind of giant cleaver type axe thing? On top of that, we've got these spikes, which are actually going to be bone horns protruding from the model everywhere. So that's the kind of theme I'm going to go for each of them: a Nurgle, a Khorne, and a Tzeentch themed Varanguard models. Let's have a look at those spare parts then. They're right here, as you can see. So these are the heads I didn't use. This one, where you can use the really long horns on. If I did get another 3, I'll clearly use the heads that I didn't use. So this horny head, this one with the top knot. This is quite a strange one, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's more of a Khorne one. And this one, I'd probably say that's more of a Tzeentch one with this kind of star sorcery type looking thing. You've got a number of weapons. Again, you could do another Nurgle themed one, I guess, with this plague sword. You can pop this on a Tzeentch one, quite an ornate spear. And then you've got these, which again, take your pick really. You've got a couple more fell spears. This one here has got some tassels on there. This one here has got some extra icons on there, and it's quite thick, very spiky, more of a Khorne thing. But this one's very sharp, pointed, like more of a piercing, puncturing type of spear. And then this sword would be a great either Khorne or Nurgle blade there. I'd probably say Khorne more than anything. And then you get a Warhammer, quite a thick, chunky Warhammer as well. Sometimes I feel the Warhammers are a little bit too small, but this one, look how heavy that must be. Crazy. And yeah, obviously a load of detail. So there are all your spare parts. You're going to get... I used one of the fell spears, but you're going to get another 2. You're going to get another couple of swords. And then you get another spear and a hammer. So in total, I make that 3 swords, 3 spears, an axe, a Tzeentch spear, and a hammer. So they're all of your weapons. 9 weapons in total. If you get 9, you can have all 9 of them with different weapons, but bear in mind, again, like I said before, all of your steeds are going to look the same. Size comparisons then. Wow, have I got a treat for you. Let's kick off with some Slaves to Darkness size comparisons. Firstly, I want to just show you them next to an old Chaos Knight. This is all metal. This knight has a plastic steed, but metal tail, metal head, and the knight itself is all metal too. So the only thing plastic, as you can see from the underneath of that spray, is plastic. So quite heavy, chunky model on a rectangular base, and look how small it is compared to a Varanguard. I hope this just outlines the size difference here that we're talking about. Yeah, absolutely crazy. It's almost size comparison as a Primaris Eliminator and a Scout, a Legacy Scout. But there you go. Then next to a normal Chaos Knight that we had in the Start Collecting set. You can see there, massive difference. I mean, yes, I know they are expensive, but they're double the size. They're huge. The bases are bigger. They've got much more presence. They're, yeah, you can see why I would say you could use one as a Lord. And then if that wasn't enough, we'll do one more Chaos comparison, well, a couple really, is the Karkadrak. Now this is a Chaos Lord on a Karkadrak, and the base is a little bit bigger, but size-wise, there's not that much in it at all. They're very similar size. The Karkadrak is probably a little bit thicker, just a little bit, but height-wise, presence-wise, bearing in mind the Karkadrak is on that piece of scenery, I'd say the Varanguard are bigger if you get rid of that scenery. So yeah, there we go, see? Pretty much size of a Carcadrat. Chaos Warrior, of course. Look how big they are compared to just a normal Chaos Warrior. Like, the armour and things, it's just, yeah, much larger. The shields as well. I mean, the shield is pretty much almost the same. The shield as well is much bigger. Almost the size of a warrior, actually. So they're all the Chaos, so they're all Slaves to Darkness comparisons. How does it compare to like Lumineth Realm Lords, for instance? Okay, well, look at the size of these. There you've got a Dawn Rider, and there you've got a Varanguard. Much, much bigger. Absolutely huge compared to these Dawn Riders. And then poor old Jacob, right here, about to be skewered. Yeah, huge compared to a normal sort of Age of Sigmar model. And where would we be without some 40k comparisons? So I've got a Legacy Space Marine on the left, Slime Marble in the middle, and then a Primaris Intercessor on the right. Look how big they are compared to even like a Primaris. They're what I'd probably say double the height of a Primaris. So yeah, there you go. Okay, so now you've reached my part of the review where I will go through all of their rules. You can find their rules in your Warhammer Age of Sigmar Slaves to Darkness Chaos Battle Tome, which came out I think at the beginning of 2020. You'll find them next to Archaon. Minimum unit size is 3 and the maximum is 12, and they will cost you 300 points for the 3, so the 100 points per model. They count as a battle line in a Slaves to Darkness army if all units are Host of the Everchosen. So if you go for Host of the Everchosen, you're going to get these as battle line. So what do you get for all of these points? Well, you get a movement speed of 10 inches, which is the same movement speed as the Chaos Knights and Chaos Lords on Demonic Mounts. You get a save of 3+, which is actually better than Knights, and it's the same as Archaon. You get a bravery of 9, again, much better than Knights, and you get 5 wounds each, which is a huge amount. So a unit of Varanguard has any number of models, each armed with one of the following weapon options: Ensorcelled Weapon, Fell Spear, or Demon Forged Blade. This unit's mutated steeds attack with their tearing fangs. Mark of Chaos. When you select this unit to be part of your army, you must give it one of the following Mark of Chaos keywords: Khorne, Nurgle, Slanesh, Tzeentch, or Undivided. So, what's the difference between all of these weapons then? Well, an Ensorcelled Weapon is a range of 1 inch, 6 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, -1 to rend, and a 1 damage. Fell Spear is a range of 2 inch, 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 4+ to wound, -1 to rend, and damage of 2. A Demon Forged Blade is a range of 1 inch, 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, 3+ to wound, rend -1, and a damage of D3. And then Tearing Fangs is a range of 1 inch, 3 attacks, 4+ to hit, 3+ to wound, no rend, and a damage of 1. So there you go, they're the 3 main weapons you're going to go for. You're either going to go for an Ensorcelled Weapon, which has a load of attacks, but is quite weak in terms of rend and damage, or you go for a Fell Spear, which has more attacks, a little bit better range, but worse to wound and has more damage, or you go for the Demon Forged Blade, which again has less attacks than the Ensorcelled Weapon, but has the potential of having a damage of D3. Not much in it with all of them. You know, you can go for maximum number of attacks, or you can go for fewer attacks and, you know, more damage. Abilities. Demon Bound. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Demon Forged Blade is 6, that attack inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in an addition. So that's one of the reasons why you're going to go for the Demon Forged Blade. Favoured of the Everchosen. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by this unit if Archaon is in your army and on the battlefield. That's amazing. So already they're 3+ to hit. You're essentially going to be hitting on 2 pluses if Archaon's in your army. Impaling Charge. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with this unit's Fell Spears, and improve the rend characteristic of this unit's Fell Spears by 1 if it made a charge move in the same turn. works as normal. Relentless Killers. Once per battle in the combat phase, after this unit has fought in that phase for the first time, when it is your turn to pick a unit to fight, this unit can be picked to fight for a second time if it is within 3 inches of any enemy units. That's amazing. You can only use that once per battle, but you get a free turn really. Warp Steel Shields. Each time this unit is affected by a spell or endless spell, you can roll a dice. If you do so on a 5+, ignore the effects of that spell or endless spell on this unit. That's quite nice, that you're getting like an invulnerable save against spells and endless spells. It would have been great if these Varanguard were able to have invulnerable saves, I guess. Maybe on 6s, mortal wounds are ignored. That would have been nice. Then it wouldn't step on Archaon's Armour of Morcar ability too much if they had a little bit of an invulnerable save. But there we go. Keywords: Chaos, Mortal, Slaves to Darkness, Everchosen, Mark of Chaos, and Varanguard. So the rules are tremendous. The models are fantastic. The only kind of negative, and it's an elephant in the room, is just the price, but hopefully I've done a good job at explaining enough in this review of why they are the price they are. It would have been nice if they were £40, but we're living in an age now where a set of 5 normal sized knights are pretty much £40. But if you're after these awesome looking bodyguards to accompany your Archaon that do have a fair bit of variety in them, and they are the biggest knights, then these are the way to go. But I'm interested to find out what you guys think of these Varanguard. Are you not able to see past the price, or do you own them and you think that they're fantastic miniatures, and have you used them in game? Please do put all of your thoughts, opinions and experiences down in the comments below. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Death to the False Emperor.